The video that you're about to see was recorded during our live show on Tuesday. Since then, the NFL has got an update here from Dan Graziano on how the NFL salary cap is going to change for the Raiders and the entire league. The information on this video is still all good. This is how I would go about the Raiders free agency plan. It's just the numbers are a little bit different. If anything, you add a little bit more money. This helps out Pete Carroll and John Spytek. And then near the end of the show, I talk about other free agents that the Raiders could look at. Because of this extra money, you could go out and get those players. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update simply because there was an update from the NFL salary cap. Coming up here today on the Raiders Report, my 10-step plan for the Raiders in NFL free agency. Also, every single contract that you're going to see is via Spotrac market values. I didn't want to sit up here and just project contracts and do the math. So what I figured I would do is just let the contracts out of my hand because, believe it or not, I'm not going to be the one signing a contract with, Pete Carroll, John Spytek. So every single dollar amount that you see is via Spotrac's market value. And if the Raiders follow this 10-step plan, I think we can be a legit Super Bowl contender in a year or two down the road. For those of you that do not know, free agency starts March 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And that legal tampering period starts 48 hours prior. So March 10th, 4 p.m. Eastern, it's about to go down. The Raiders do have $92.5 million in salary cap space, which is second most in the National Football League. And because of that, they are going to be very aggressive. But you know what? Step one of my plan, let's add some money. And I'm going to be able to create $40 million in overall salary cap space. And if you're like, Mitch, how the heck are you going to do that? I want you to go check out this video. Step one is everything that I mentioned in this video. That's step freaking one. And I can make $40.2 million this offseason if you restructure a few contracts, if you cut a few players, if you move on from a few different dudes, I can create $40 million. So if I do everything in this plan, which this video is down in the comments, it's down in the description of today's show, I then take my $92.5 million and I turn that into $132.7 million to spend this offseason. Now that I have created $132.7, I'm going to take that money, and this is where I'm going to look out, and I'm going to start spending on certain players. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to re-sign some of my unrestricted free agents. These are the free agents that you probably are thinking of when you think of the term free agent. I'm bringing back Adam Butler, Tre'von Moehrig, Robert Spillane, Levon Chaisson, and I'm going to bring back Nate Hobbs. The number that you see down below is what Spotrac projects it is going to cost to bring them back on a one-year deal. So because I am looking at it on a year-to-year basis, I am literally taking the money, $2.9 million plus $15.7 plus $10.4 plus $3.4. Couldn't believe Nate Hobbs was at 2.9. I put him on the list. Nate Hobbs at 2.9. You add all of that up, and it equals $35.3 million. So for the sake of the show, for the sake of just doing contracts, if the Raiders had $132.7 million, you subtract $35.3 million, and now I'm working with $97.4. If the Raiders follow this plan, right now I'm making this video, they have less free agency money than what they would have if they followed my plan and they just brought back all those other players. Let's go to number 3 here. You're going to re-sign some of your restricted rights free agents. And again, restricted rights, unrestricted rights, exclusive rights free agents. There's a lot of different lingo for what type of free agents there are. For the Raiders, I'm going to bring these guys back. And again, these numbers can change. Essentially what this means is if an NFL team says, hey, Isaiah Paul-Mao, I'm going to offer you a one-year deal worth 1.2, the Raiders have the opportunity to match it. The Raiders will end up matching it. I don't think that any of these players are going to get paid a lot of money. So essentially what I did was I put their value very close to what it was last season, and it's also very close to what Spotrac projects. So when you add Zach Carter, extra depth at DT, you bring back DJ Turner, he's going to be on this roster. Isaiah Paul-Mao, going to be another player, that equals $2.7 million. So I took 2.7 away from 97.4, and we keep on marching forward. 94.7 overall to spend. But guess what? I'm also going to go out. I'm going to bring back some exclusive rights free agents. This is essentially, if you want them, you got them. And there's a few names that I do think that the Raiders are going to bring back that are exclusive rights free agents. The first one is going to be Sam Webb. He's a reliable corner that you're just going to put on the bottom of your roster. Jordan Meredith is somebody that this team absolutely needs to figure out a way to bring back. And then also Kenai Malga finds his way on a lot of practice squads, has also found his way on our 53-man, but he's a really good special teamer, and he's willing to do everything. And if you're trying to build a good culture, Kenai Malga is sneaky a guy to bring back. So after those three moves, now the Raiders are sitting here somewhere at about $92.3 million. And I wanted to do this 10-step plan. I wanted to show you exactly which players that I would try to bring back before the open market actually hits. And quite frankly, if I'm the Raiders, and if I'm getting these guys based on Spotrac market value, those are the names that you got to keep in mind. I know that not having Malcolm Koonce sucks. Like, I know that I was unable to bring back some of those dudes, but I had to figure out how can I put the best team, offense, defense, special teams, on the field together as one, and I feel like I did that a pretty damn good job. Here's where I want you to voice your opinion, though. I want you to give me a free agent that you want the Raiders to sign this offseason. Let's just say it's your number one target. Your number one target for the Raiders. This is the pinned comment. It's the most important question on today's video. Scroll on down and give me your answer. When I first did this video, I had Sam Darnold as the quarterback to sign. And then I went through and I looked at the amount of pieces that I was missing. I crumbled up that plan. I threw it away. And I looked at what I could do with Justin Fields, which is where I'm going to go here with my Raiders free agency plan because of how amazing of a team I can build around Fields. He is the best bang for your buck quarterback on the open market. And quite frankly, I think Chip Kelly is the perfect OC to try to fix a 25-year-old Justin Fields. If Justin Fields is coming out in the draft this year, he's the number 2 quarterback behind Cam Ward. And I know that he's an unbelievable athlete. I'll admit, he's not a great thrower of the football down the field, but if Jalen Hurts can learn how to throw a football, why can't Justin Fields? But the reason why that I'm taking Fields is because of the Spotrac market value. $6.4 million per year. I'm telling you this, I'm taking Justin Fields at $6.4 million before I'm paying Sam Darnold, who's projected to get $40.1 million. 40.1 for Darnold or 6.4 for Justin Fields. It's a no-brainer for me. Russell Wilson projected 38.7. It's a no-brainer. And I know that there's going to be people out there, well, what about Matthew Stafford? What about Aaron Rodgers? This is free agency and free agency alone. That doesn't mean that those aren't options. Like, the Raiders could potentially look at Aaron Rodgers if he hits the open market. We could potentially look at trading for a Matthew Stafford, maybe a Derek Carr. Maybe Minnesota franchise tags Sam Darnold, and they have J.J. McCarthy on the open market. I am saying, out of the quarterbacks that are right now free agents, which is Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, those are your top 3 guys. Justin Fields is the most bang for your buck, and the fact that I was able to add him, so essentially $92.3 million minus $6.4 million, I still have $85.9 million, and I have solved my quarterback problem. Yes, some people might say, Mitch, you still have a QB problem. I think no matter what quarterback the Raiders add, you're going to be able to poke holes in what you do. But I believe in Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, John Spytek, Tom Brady, Greg Olsen as our quarterback coach. And I believe that we are going to be able to do the most with the talent we have because of our staff. And that's why I'm willing to roll the dice here with Justin Fields. Before we get into some of these other parts here to my Raiders free agency plan, if anybody has ever seen me rock a Raiders hat and you're like, dude, where do you get your hats? Chatsports.com/Raiders hats. There are trucker hats, there are snapbacks, there are flat bills, there are curved brim, whatever type of hat you need, I'm telling you right now, it's available to you. I've also, one of my favorites is I rock this like silver hat all the time. You can also get that all silvered out hat at chatsports.com/Raiders hats. Bottom line, no matter what type of hat you're trying to wear, I'm always like, past few years, I didn't wear a lot of hats. Now that my hair is kind of getting long again, I kind of like to rock them. I also wear a lot of corduroy hats, which is what this one is. I'll tell you this, you better make sure that you take care of them because corduroy hats are hard to keep clean, especially when they're this cream color. I rock a lot of different hats. Bottom line, I've had a lot of people ask me recently, Mitch, where do you get them? Chatsports.com/Raiders hats. You can find a bunch of them there. Let's go to step 6 here on my Raiders free agency plan. The Raiders are going to sign a quarterback early in Justin Fields, which is why he was number 5. The next thing that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to go out there and I'm going to try to win in the trenches. And I put out a video, my top targets in the trenches that the Raiders need to go out and get. Josh Sweat was number 1. If you want to go check out that video, again, it's on the channel. But Sweat, to me, would be a great replacement for Malcolm Koonce. He's obviously an upgrade. He's a better player. And the Raiders need to be able to generate pressure with 4. If you're able to generate pressure with 4, you're going to have success in Patrick Graham's defense. And Josh Sweat and the Philadelphia Eagles, they made Patrick Mahomes look embarrassing. You know who else really made Patrick Mahomes look embarrassing? Patrick Graham's defense on Christmas Day. Why? They were able to generate pressure by getting 4. The Spotrac market value also has Josh Sweat cheaper than Malcolm Koonce. So if I'm doing this video the way that I'm going to do this video, I'm going to take Josh Sweat at $18.8 million per year. So when you subtract that from 85.9, you're somewhere at $67.1 million. Yes, Max Crosby, Josh Sweat. You're telling me to line that up with Tyree Wilson, with somebody like Adam Butler and Christian Wilkins? That's your front. That's a really, really fun front right there. Let's go to the next thing that I'm going to do here on my free agency plan. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign Mekhi Becton. If I'm going to sign Justin Fields, I know that I'm going to be a run-heavy team. That means I need to be able to have an offensive lineman that can clear the way. And Becton's going to be able to do that. His Spotrac market value is $10.2 million. That's not quite the right number. The Raiders need to upgrade that interior offensive line. And if you're telling me I can rock with Colton Miller, Mekhi Becton, JPJ, like Mekhi Becton and JPJ being next to each other, that's where you're running behind on 3rd down and 1. That's where you're going on 4th down and 1. And I want them to be physical. And when you have a quarterback that can run like Fields with an offensive line that's physical like JPJ, that also has a blocker that can catch the football like Brock Bowers, you combine that with Mekhi Becton coming off a career year and being able to set that tone. I like being able to set the tone at $10.2 million. So 67.1 minus $10.2 million, I still have $56.9 million to be able to work with and to be able to keep operating. So after going out and getting Josh Sweat, going out and getting after Mekhi Becton, here's going to be one that I might surprise some people, but hear me out. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign Jevon Holland. Holland is coming off a little bit of a down year this past year with Miami, though they had a totally different defensive coach overall. When they lost Vic Fangio, it was a little bit of a herder. Also, Jevon Holland, his safety coach was Gerald Alexander, who I get it is no longer the Raiders safety coach anymore. But having a versatile safety is extremely critical in Patrick Graham's defense. I also go back and I think of some of those great Seahawks defenses led by Pete Carroll. They had a guy in Earl Thomas. Jevon Holland is sort of like an Earl Thomas. He can do a lot of different things. This also then allows Tre'von Moehrig to play up near the box. When you have a true center fielder in Holland, that allows Moehrig to play up near the box. It also allows Moehrig to do a bunch of different things all over the football field. When you have a young dude in Holland and a young guy in Moehrig, and you give both of those players 3 to 4 year deals, and you know that your back end, your safety, is just covered, which limits the plays down the field, huge in Patrick Graham's defense because he's going to want to bring 4. He's going to want you to play in front of him, but he also needs to know that his safeties aren't going to get beat deep. So 15.1, it's a little bit of more money than I wanted to spend, but I'm okay spending the extra money because remember, I'm also bringing back Tre'von Moehrig. So if I know that my free safety and my strong safety is set for the next 3 to 4 years, you wipe your hands clean and you keep on moving, and then you can really focus then on that front 7, front whatever, in front of those 2 guys. So 56.9 subtracted by 15.1, I got $41.8 million to spend. Let's keep it rocking here in the secondary. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign DJ Reed. So this means I got Jacorian Bennett, DJ Reed, and Nate Hobbs. That's my secondary. My entire secondary right now would be Tre'von Moehrig, Jevon Holland, DJ Reed, Nate Hobbs, and Jacorian Bennett. That sounds pretty damn good with a front that has, listen, K'Lavon Chaisson, you got a front that's got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, Tyree Wilson, Josh Sweat. That is one of the best defenses in the National Football League. That is a defense that's going to help you win some football games with Robert Spillane at linebacker. Reed is a great replacement for Hobbs if you are unable to bring Hobbs back. Also, Jack Jones. I don't see the Raiders bringing back Jones, and DJ Reed is somebody that has played inside and outside. I think he's going to predominantly play on the outside, and if I brought back Nate Hobbs, I am going to allow Reed, who's got 2 years of experience with Pete Carroll, and I don't know if y'all know this, but when Pete Carroll was hired by the Raiders, DJ Reed was very vocal about how excited and how happy he was for Carroll. And at $14.7 million at 28 years old, I'm taking that deal. I mean, the defense that I was able to build, and again, this was not a plan that I thought I was going to do, but because I was able to sign Justin Fields, quite frankly, the defense that I'm going to be able to put on the field is going to be spectacular. Like, my starting 11 is one of the best defenses in the National Football League from the jump. And that's not even counting the guys that we're going to be able to go out and find in the NFL draft. When you build that much depth, that helps a team win for the long haul of an entire season. So I got $27.1 million. I wanted to go out and I wanted to get Chris Godwin. However, I didn't have the money to be able to do it, so I'm going out and I'm signing Keenan Allen. The reason why I said I don't have the money is because in my 10-step plan, when you look at the $40.2 million that I added, $9 million of that is after June 1st. So knowing that $9 million of that is after June 1st, in my mind, I'm going to use that money and I'm going to allocate that to a lot of the players that we are going to be drafting down the road. So you take $9 million technically from what I have, which is why I'm going to go out and I'm going to sign Keenan Allen. Hear me out. If you sign a Keenan Allen, okay, if I got a guy like Justin Fields, I want some sure-handed receivers. And I know he had some drop issues last year, but Keenan Allen is a reliable slot wide receiver. We can agree with that. And he is somebody that I know some people might not like him because he was a Charger, but Caleb Williams swore up and down that Keenan Allen was a great, great receiver. On top of that, the Raiders' new wide receiver coach is Chris Beatty. And Keenan Allen, who grew up a Raiders fan, by the way, big-time Raiders fan, followed Chris Beatty from the Chargers to Chicago. Maybe he could join the Raiders at $11.1 million. Because the way that I would view this is then I have Keenan Allen and Jacoby Myers, two good route runners, two sure-handed receivers, but then I can also use a Michael Mayer and I can use a Brock Bowers. Those are my top catchers. I really wanted to be able to trade for DK Metcalf, and if I did a perfect offseason video, this would have been trade for DK Metcalf. I'm just telling you that right now. But then again, Keenan got better and better and better as the year went on a little bit. So after signing DJ Reed and after signing Keenan Allen, can you just switch that to Keenan? Raiders had $27.1 million. So now I'm sitting here at about $16 million. With the $16 million that I'm left to spend, again, I am using $9 million of that, $10 million of that, to be able to go out and pay some of my draft prospects as the year goes on. There's other players as well that I was looking at, like wide receiver Matt Collins was another dude that I would love to try to bring in, considering the fact of I want to be a physical football team. So what I wanted to do here is say with $16 million, I just wanted to throw out a few other cheaper names to just keep in mind that I would try to bring in. Like I mentioned, Matt Collins. If I could bring in Hollins on my special teams unit, and then when Keenan Allen gets a little bit tired and I want to go run block with a guy like Hollins who's still a freak of nature, you tell me Matt Collins blocking with Jacoby who can block, with Brock Bowers who can block. That's a really tough team to be able to defend because Hollins can also take you deep, and then Justin Fields can run the rock. I'm also going to try to sign Aaron Jones at $5.6 million, and then you go out and you draft the back, and then if I have enough money, I would entertain the idea of bringing in Bobby Wagner from a chemistry, culture building standpoint at 7.2. These are moves that the Raiders can make. These are moves that the whole organization could do. And if you don't like my free agency plan, you can let me know your thoughts down below. 10-step free agency plan for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to create $40 million, which you guys can see on the Raiders Report YouTube channel. I'm signing unrestricted free agents like Adam Butler. I'm going to bring back a guy like Nate Hobbs. I want to get a dude like Robert Spillane. And I'm going to also look at some Jordan Meredith. I'm going to go look at a guy like Isaiah Paul-Lamau. I am going to sign Justin Fields at $6.4 million because the defense, the offense that I'm able to create around that is really special. I'm going to go build in my trenches. Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton, bring him in. Javon Holland, pair him with Tre'von Moehrig for the next 3 to 4 years. You go out and you sign a DJ Reed, and then you pair that with signing Keenan Allen. If the Raiders follow that 10-step plan, you're not only setting yourself up for success in 2025, but you're also setting yourself up for success down the road. So A, B, C, D, or F, get out your red pens, grade my overall Raiders free agency plan.